completed, they were very clear that it was never going to have a DVD release, and it was getting so much buzz on the internet. I'm like, okay, people are going to see this film. I need to have seen this film. I know it's going to be terrible, but I need to have seen it. So I drove to Rochester, New York, from like New Haven, Connecticut, to go watch the film in the theater. So I saw it there, and then of course the DVD did come out, and I had a bunch of friends who knew about the film, and I kind of wish they didn't, but they wanted to see the film. I'm like, all right, we're going to do a screening. So also 2009, watched it with a bunch of friends, and I haven't seen it since. I did buy the riff tracks, but I've never actually listened to the riff tracks and watched the movie with it. But most of the films I've been in, I don't typically watch more than once. So, and I'm not really a fan of bad cinema, so I'm even less inclined to watch this one more than once. But
I can't imagine what the riff tracks is like, because there's just minutes of complete silence.
that you can put anything in those minutes.
I guess so.
It's very fertile territory.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got the gig to do this movie?
Sure. So at the time, I'd been doing a bunch of acting. I'd probably been in like 50 different projects by that point, shorts and little local commercials and features and whatever. And so it was an audition ad that was posted, like, wherever somewhere online that I found it. And so I went to the audition, and I knew going into the audition that this was going to be shot like full time. You were going to get paid a couple $100s, and I knew it was going to be shot on film. So I thought, I'm not an expert, but I'm like, okay, well, film costs and developing and negatives and printing and everything. I said, it's got to be a budget of at least like $50,000. I thought, this is going to be the most amazing project I've ever been part of, like the biggest budget of anything I've ever done. So the audition was held in a Barnes and Noble bookstore in the coffee restaurant that was in there. So we're sitting there with like people around us drinking coffee and reading books, and he's like bringing out the script for me to perform, and I'm like, well, I've done weirder things, so and then I got cast, and that's how I got into it.
So how long did you shoot?
Me, I was like 5 or 6 days in a row. There were a couple of shooting days before and after me, and maybe other things I'm not fully aware of, but I was there for most of it because I'm in most of it. But yeah, and it was brutal because we're in northern Massachusetts in an unheated space, and it's January, and I didn't know this, so I did not dress appropriately. Like I'm wearing like normal like street clothes and office clothes. I don't have like thermal underwear on or anything, so I'm freezing to death. We all are. And you can see, when I thought the project was going to be amazing. I'm like, oh, I'm so looking forward to this. And then I got the script and storyboards, and the script is sort of like, the ending is sort of not written, and the storyboards are not very polished, like they're kind of incoherent scribblings. So I'm like, okay, I have no idea how this film ends, and I can see the script's not very good. And I said, well, maybe he'll have a great vision, and it'll be better when I get there. So now I lost my train of thought. Oops, my screen's going dark here. Screensaver's kicking in. Yeah, so I was pretty excited to go do the project, and I forgot the track I was on. But yeah, then I got there and saw that like the sets looked like they're a middle school set, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, I know. I was thinking. So I went up there, right? I saw like the sets not good, set decoration bad, lighting bad, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to be a good film. Maybe I'll never see the light of day. And so, when I got the script, I'm like, oh, this is bad, but I feel I've already committed, and I don't like to back out of things. So I'm like, I committed to this. I'm going to go do it, and maybe it'll be a good learning experience. So we did all the shooting, came back to Connecticut, and I'm thinking, well, I hope it never sees the light of day. And then the trailer comes out, and it's on Apple Trailers, and it's like circulating all over the internet. And So I look at the trailer, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be worse than I thought. Because obviously when I'm on set, I can't see through the lens. I don't know what the audio is like, I don't know what the lighting's like, but I'm watching the trailer and I can see that it is so cold. My nose is red. I can see my breath. My face is like pale and waxy because I'm so cold. And I even realized that in some of the scenes, it's so cold that my lips are frozen. I can't form words properly, so I'm lisping. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the trailer. I'm like, the film's going to be a disaster. So, yeah. That was interesting unfolding of things.
Are you still in touch with anybody who worked on the movie?
No, for a while I was in touch with Mark till about 2015. I was in touch with the lead actress and the guy who plays the doctor and a couple of the other people. And some of them were from Connecticut as well, so I occasionally see them at like networking events, acting networking events. But I don't think I've communicated with any of them in like 5 years or something. But we did talk for a little while. And Mark, I actually kept trying to reach him because I would have people reach out to me all the time, fans and whatever, like trying to get business opportunities going. They want to do a screening, they want to do a Q&A, they want to do a documentary, they want to do a sequel, they want to do this. And for some of these things, like we needed Mark's permission or cooperation or whatever, or a copy of the film. And so I'd periodically reach out to him and be like, hey, these people want to buy a whole bunch of DVDs. These people want to book the film in a theater. And basically he was like, he'd give me excuses, but I think they were just excuses. And basically he turned down all these opportunities that he could have jumped on to make money and notoriety, but he did not want them. And then at some point when I was trying to reach him, it was like the email bounced and I had no other way to reach him. So that was it.
Well, yeah, you got to recoup that $5 million, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's no way, unless somebody ripped him off, there's no way they spent $5 million. But I mean, there were a lot of people, there were a lot of theaters that would have booked this film. So he might have made part of the way there to that $5 million.
Yeah. Do you have a minute? We can do like a couple of questions from the audience.
Sure, I got time.
All right, I'll relay them since I'm right by the laptop.
I will. The other thing I'll throw out there. So there is a Facebook group that was started by a fan. That fan sort of became relatively inactive, so then I became an admin, so I could at least get people approved into the group. But if you have curiosity about the film, enjoyed it or not or whatever, I did a podcast interview a couple years ago. The only other time I've ever spoken about the film publicly, and that's posted in the Facebook group. So if you, and that was I had a preparation of all the things I wanted to get out about the film, and the interview had prepped for it. So if you want more after whatever we get done here today, if you're interested in more, there's like an hour-long podcast about the film. They did their own podcast of the film and a critique of it or something. And then after that, there's this interview with me. So whatever you don't get, if you don't get your question answered tonight, you think of more after, you might find out what you want via the podcast.
And the Facebook group is called I Believe in After Last Season, if anyone wants to join. It's still around, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's gotten pretty quiet lately. And I will probably be the person approving your membership because the other admin is kind of dormant.
Okay, so questions, yes.
What were the director's intentions with the film? This was my first time seeing it. I think I liked it quite a bit, to be honest, in like an unironic way. I found it like pretty heady, and like I'm not a science person. I don't know how legitimate any of that is, but like, why did he want to make it? Do you have, like, has he talked about that?
So yeah, he's talked about it a little to us. He's talked about it in interviews. You can find like written interviews where he's talked about the film. He had made a short film called Medium Waves that I'd never seen, and I don't know if it's possible to find it, but it has a lot of the same themes and elements of After Last Season. And After Last Season seems to be like his feature-length version of that film. And the way he always talked about it was like, he considered this like he was a fan of like Indiana Jones and Close Encounters and like a lot of mainstream, action, sci-fi, mystery, drama. And as far as I understand, his concept of the film is it was just like that. Like he was not trying to make something obscure or weird or cult or whatever. I think that's why he basically um, would not like when I brought these opportunities to him to like sell more DVDs or get theater bookings, and he would turn them all down. I think basically he was kind of hurt feelings and embarrassed about the reaction to the film because it's not. He was intending people to like this as like some kind of science fiction, action, drama, mystery, and when people didn't, receive it that way, I think that really. I mean, this was like he accomplished his dream. He had a short film. Now he had his feature made on film, and it just didn't go where he wanted. And there was a podcast that was the same one that I referred to when they did their analysis of it before I was on. They made an interesting comment that if you notice, a lot of the dialogue is very banal and a little incoherent, and it only sounds as natural as it does because the lead actress and I rewrote our lines 10 minutes before every scene because his English was like not native and not vernacular, and so it was really stilted and like hard to perform. And he didn't care if we rewrote it. We didn't change the content. We just smoothed out all the wording. And so some of the other actors, none of the other actors did it except for the lead actress and I. But the conversation is very kind of dull, and we're doing it as sincerely as we could. But somebody made the point in the podcast that it's like, all right, imagine in real life, you're sitting at home having dinner, but next door there's literal aliens, and next door there's a literal murder going on. And maybe you peripherally get involved in those events, or maybe you majorly get involved in those events, but you're not in those events all the time, or even hardly any of the time. So what are you doing the rest of the time? You're eating dinner and watching TV and talking to your spouse, and you're doing boring things because that's your life, even though something amazing is happening next door. And one of the thoughts was, well, maybe that's how Mark conceived this film. It's like, it's a slice of life. Ordinary life is happening, but also interwoven with ordinary life, there's this crazy stuff happening. And it's just, maybe he didn't execute it well, if that was his vision, but at least it kind of starts making some sense about why it is the way it is.
Can I follow up real fast, really short?
Sure.
Was he happy with the film?
I don't know. I never saw him in person again after filming. I don't think we ever spoke on the phone either. We just emailed. So I can only go from the fact that, again, he turned down all these opportunities. Some that occurred right away, right after the premiere, and some that kept occurring over the next couple of years. Like I said, till 2015, I could still reach him. And there was always excuses that didn't really ring that true to me. And so I just feel like, he talked in interviews about, to him, this was just a regular thriller film. But obviously, most of the world didn't see it that way. And I think that probably bothered him. So I don't think he was happy with it, but I don't actually know.
Thank you.
Hi. I just want to say this was my 6th time seeing the film, and I'm with my friend here who asked the last question. I very unironically love this movie and am so just endlessly fascinated by it. Because no matter how much sense I can make of it after having seen it this many times, I still can't. And I guess my question is just, what has been, because you talk about seeing the way people respond to the movie, what has been your response to hearing from me and other people on the internet, I feel like there is like a definite like cults hive mind of people who do unironically love this movie, and I guess my question is just, what's your response to that as someone who has a very different perspective on the film?
Somewhat baffled. Usually, when someone says, like every so often in the Facebook fan group, someone talks about how much they really enjoy the film. And every so often I get an email from a fan, usually a Facebook message, about how much they enjoy the film. And I'll usually say, because I want to hear, like, what do you see in it? Why do you like it? Because, like, I don't like any bad film, and this is probably the worst of the bad films. And so I don't care for it. I think the jokes about it are pretty hilarious. And some of the comments that are posted about the film. But to genuinely enjoy it, I'm like, oh, I'm curious. Can you tell me why you enjoy it? And so that's usually my reaction is like, please explain.
Any other questions? Yep.
Were you given your character's background, or did you make your own?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay.
I made we've given a little tiny bit of background, and before shooting, and then when I arrived, every time because I'd done a bunch of projects, but I don't know, I guess, I almost feel like he constructed a lot of this film to be very surface and very, not that interesting, not emotional, not kind of banal. And so, when I would ask him, I would ask him some things about the character, trying to see, what he wanted out of it. And I never got much reaction or direction. It's kind of like, no, he's just a regular guy. No, he really wanted this to be very, very kind of like humdrum. And so I was probably too inexperienced at that point to think about I should construct an elaborate backstory and really, I took what he gave me, and then I tried to get some more depth, and he didn't really have any, and he was happy with how we were performing. So I'm like, also the minute I arrived, I suppose I didn't put a lot of work into the character, because as soon as I read the script, I'm like, this is not a good script, which means it really can't be a good film. And then when I got there and saw the sets, because I had figured okay, if you got office scenes, you're going to find an office building for free somehow, and you're going to find an apartment building for free somehow. And if you've got a hospital, you're going to find a vet hospital, and you're going to pay them a little bit of money to go in after hours and dress it up to look a human hospital. Or that's what I assumed I was going up to. And when I realized the way that we were going to be shooting and the sets and whatever, I'm like, this is just I don't think I gave it my best. I did try to perform the lines to the best of my ability and as sincerely as possible, but I don't think I was thinking deeply about oh, my character and his motivation, and no, forget it. These are the lines. I'll do them sincerely, but every time we were shooting on film remainders, so one take for everything, and there was no master close up. It was just this shot for 10 seconds and just that shot for 10 seconds and whatever. So we were whipping through these scenes, and if a mistake occurred or something was caught in frame that shouldn't have been or whatever, he would often say, we're going to fix it in post. And you can see that there's ways that they put they did matting, we didn't have green screens for anything, but they did manage to do some kind of traveling mats and whatever else. And so it became a joke a quiet joke we didn't want Mark to hear, but a joke amongst the actors, when anything went wrong at all, we were oh, we'll fix it in post. And it was the worst screw ups. You can even see there's a spot in the film where I start speaking a line, and I'm 6 words in, and I blow the line. I say the wrong word, and I realize it. So I stop, I pause to give an edit point. I stop speaking, and then I start speaking again the line, and I say it correctly. It's all in the film. If you pay attention, I start speaking, I stop, and I re-say that line, but correctly. And So like, no, there was not a lot of depth in our character preparation. I will say though that like there were moments where like the actress and I are on set together. We're like we are looking in each other's eyes and we're doing our lines very sincerely. And I really feel like we're really in the moment here. Like this scene is boring, this dialogue is not exciting, but we are really acting these lines out. And so it's like, okay, we're doing that. There's just not a lot to work with. The other thing I'll mention about the shooting, so because he's on remainders of film stock and he's trying to save time and money, he wants to use every last second. So it's almost like he had pre-edited the entire film in his head. He knew exactly which shots he wanted from what angles and what should be in it. So he didn't shoot like master close up, and then cut it all together. You can see how little editing there is. You know, if they shout action, and I'm just sitting there for a moment, letting the sound die, and then going into my line, like he leaves it all in there. So it's like there's all these times where like I look blank for a minute because I'm assuming that's going to be cut. You know, but the other thing that happens is we're almost never shooting a whole scene, and we're almost never talking to another actor when it's our close-up. I'll go into the room, and he'll say, look over here, say the third line from scene 12. I'll do it. And it's okay. Now say the second line from scene 23. I'll do that. And so in the end, when he cuts it all together, one scene will have lines that I may have said across 3 different days by myself to empty space. And, you know, one's in the morning when I'm well-fed and warm, and one's at the end of the day when I'm cold and tired and hungry. And I'm like, we're going to look schizophrenic in this because our energy levels and our focus and our physical, you know, demeanor is going to be changing like multiple times in one scene. So it's probably contributes to a disorienting effect of the film, which is interesting, I suppose. No one else is going to do it that way.
Okay, got time for one more. Anybody got a quick question? Yes.
Would he give you any kind of intention or like direction with any of the lines of dialogue?
No, and when we asked, he basically was like, you know, because no, he never, you know, if I asked like, what do you need out of this scene, he'd be like, just, you know, he'd be like, just regular, just say the lines. The ending was particularly confusing because he didn't really write the ending. Like in a normal script, you write the action out. Like the ending of this film doesn't have a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of activity. And in a normal script, you write out all the actions. So you understand, when you read it, you understand what is happening. And so if you're the actor, you know what you're doing and what context you're in. But the ending of the script basically kind of like wasn't written and the storyboards weren't comprehensible. So when we got there, we were like standing in this vast room and he'd be like, look over there and walk slowly backwards. And I'm like, okay, what are we looking at? And he'd be like, it's okay, just look over there and walk backwards. So I'm like, so we do it, but I'm thinking to myself, where is this footage going to get cut in? Am I looking at this horrible monster? And I'm just going, you know, like not really cognizant. But so like, is it going to make any sense? Is it going to work that way? So like, not only did we not get direction, even when we really needed some direction, there was just none to be had. It was kind of like, and if we, I don't know, if we rehearsed the scene, like, how was that? It was always fine. And the one take we were allowed to do, it was always fine. So like, he was happy with what he was getting. You know, again, it seemed like he really wanted this kind of like ordinary life, slice of life kind of thing. And he got a lot of that because that's all we could get out of the dialogue that we had.
Well, thank you very much for doing this. This has been amazing. Let's do this again sometime. I mean, maybe not exactly this. But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be any more screenings or anything. I kind of went rogue on this one. So, but yeah, we'll see if there are any more screenings and if we can work something out. But yes, thank you so much for giving your time. I know it's super late, so let's get you to bed. And it's great to finally talk to you like directly, so you know.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, I hope you don't have disturbing dreams after tonight.
Thank you.